It helps when they're like, "Who is this guy?" And you'd be like, "I know this, I know that."
All right, we're starting.
Yeah, let me do this. Oh,
We are live, guys.
hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the mother and son post-game show for the New York Giants family bonding. We have a very special guest, one of my friends and fraternity brothers from college, Matt, and he is going to be speaking with us about the New York Giants moves and signings in the recent month or 2 months, we'll say. It's been about 2 months since we started off season. So, but Matt, I'm going to give you the floor to introduce yourself to everybody in the family.
What's going on, everybody? I'm so grateful to be on your guys' show today. And my name is Matt, and I'm going to bring everything. I got my whole blood, sweat, and tears. I've been a Giants fan for life, and being from the Northeast, I kind of in hostile territory, if you will. Us being in the greater Northeast region, so
Mhm.
it's definitely hard. But I got all the tip strategies and I'm ready to rock and roll, and I really am excited to be here with you guys. It's a real honor.
Excellent. So before we get started, though, I do have to remind everybody, if you are not a subscriber, because we do have a lot of people that watch this podcast, and a lot of you are not subscribed. We're trying to get this family to grow, help us grow. I do want to thank everybody that did help us out in our last video because our last video was booming. So, and I
Oh
do
yeah.
appreciate all the subscribers that we've been getting. We just want to keep continuing that growth. It's nice. It was fun to watch over the last 2 months to watch that video just grow. I kept guessing where it would be the next day, and it would be higher than that. It was just fun. So thank you guys for that support. And let's get started with that. Let's actually pick up where we left off. And Super Bowl's gone. We got through that. We're done. We actually have Matt on the side of he was a supporter of Saquon, and I am okay with that as a Giants fan who secretly supported him. My mom also secretly supported him. It's
Sort of
just you
kinda.
guys know how we feel about the Eagles,
It
but it's hard to not support them. It's hard.
it pains. It was real pain even just to support it. And I want to see, and I am a huge Giants supporter. It doesn't mean I don't want to see other players succeed who are even from the Giants. And of course, the poor management that the Giants have had in the last 10 plus years, they say 15,
Yep,
probably, I'll be from the Mara days to the Gettleman days and now the Shane days. I mean, there's so much to talk in between with that, but I just want to see players who are really good and have success. If it's not with the Giants, go have it elsewhere, because that's
absolutely,
really what it's really about. Because it's
absolutely.
for them to it. I mean, I know I have people that don't like him because he left. That's fine. People want to be laundry fans. That's fine. But for me personally, I don't wish ill will on anybody. You want to go to a rival who. And it's really like we talk about every single day is about people are, they're constantly going to new teams, regardless if it's rivalry or not. It's not like the old days where you're like, oh, I'm going to go team up with my teammate and, or go to a rival team. Like today's
Right.
NFL, there's no loyalty to any
Nope.
one team or anything like
No,
that.
It's all about the money.
Absolutely.
that's
That's really what it's about. And, it's a lot of the old heads who want to say all that stuff like that. And I get it, but it's all about the green.
Yep.
It
The
really
green and where
is.
you can win. If you can win and
Yes,
get the green, it's a no-brainer. You just go there. So,
for
uh,
sure.
to close off that saga, everyone, congratulations so far. This is how I'm gonna finish it. Because I did crash out for like 30 minutes plus in the last video.
It was.
But yes, I do congratulate him. I will say that. So, but to move on from that, there's been a lot of buzz about the recent quarterback moves that we've made. We got Russell Wilson and we got Jameis Winston, and then we still have Tommy DeVito, which everybody knows how I feel about that. I thought that he just shouldn't really be in the NFL, if I'm being honest. I feel like he has been given a lot of chances, and I feel like he's just there to
Yeah,
fill space. I feel like
yeah.
that's what it is. Uh, I don't know how Matt feels about that. I'm actually curious. How did you feel about Tommy DeVito during that whole saga?
Well, I see. Here's how I feel about the whole Tommy DeVito thing is that last year, I know a lot of people like the Italian thing. Everybody started to get onto it, the cutlets thing, and this whole thing. But the thing for me is, I get that teams are not going to tank. I get all that. They want to still improve, improve, improve
Yes.
each and every single week and day. But when you have potential to have the next franchise quarterback potentially coming into your building, and they knew. even with the whole Daniel Jones saga, they basically chose Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley, gave
Hmm.
him the 40 million a year contract. Then
Yep.
after that, they had their chance and they said, okay, let's give DeVito a shot. Let's give him the hot hand. And they ended up winning those last 2 or 3 games at the end of the year.
Yep.
That basically, I love Malik Neighbors. Don't get me wrong, I
Hmm.
love Malik Neighbors. But Jaden, as we all know, the power of the quarterback position in the NFL is so predominant. It's so hard to come by
Yep.
these days. And I feel like today we're all trying to find who's going to be the next Peyton, who's going to be the next Eli, Brady,
Yep.
Breeze. We know it. We got like it's just one of those things where like we could have had Jaden Daniels last year, and
We
we
Yeah.
could
wouldn't
have.
be sitting here.
We could have.
We could have had Jaden Daniels. We could have been sitting at 3, and we could have had maybe Jameis come in. Probably wouldn't have had Russell Wilson come in.
No.
Let's just
Yeah.
be honest. I
Yep.
mean,
No.
we'll get to the Russell Wilson thing in a second. But for us as Giants, it's just like now we're kind of in limbo land. It's like, well, do we know with the whole Joe Shane thing, which I don't think Shane should even be here in the first place. Now we're
Absolutely
still in
not.
that
No.
now we're in that limbo land of like, do we have a quarterback? Just sit him in here, like with Shadeur Sanders or
Hmm.
potentially like
Cam
a
Ward.
Jackson Cam Ward or a Jackson Dart. And then
Hmm.
let's say, and the Giants' schedule's not getting any better next year. It's just not.
No.
No.
I mean, they have one of the toughest schedules in the league
Why
next
are they
year.
doing that to us?
And
Like,
then
It is what it
if they're
is.
if they're going to be 4-13 at 4-14 again or 13, yeah, Joe Shane and Dayball are gone, and
yes.
they're and that new regime is going to have to inherit if they choose a Shador Sanders, a quarterback they did not draft, and then the whole cycle is going to repeat over and over again.
And that's
So
what we don't want to happen. So that is why I'm looking at these moves that we're making with a raised eyebrow. Because you bring in Russell Wilson and you bring in Jameis Winston, and I feel to me that was just a statement of we're sorry in a way. Like that's kind of what it felt like because we had to deal with just the bland of it all with just Daniel Jones and really just kept giving him a backup quarterback that wasn't in a position to teach him anything. No disrespect to
Not at all.
no disrespect to them. It's just you got guys that were riding benches anyway behind a guy who had the biggest chip on his shoulder to prove that he deserved to be picked at number 6 in the first round. And that was just a recipe for disaster. It was horrible. And
They were just seat
now,
fillers. They were literally
yes,
seat fillers.
yes,
That's it.
kind of like what it feels like with Jameis, though, because I don't expect Jameis to play. It's going to be Russell Wilson starting, and whoever we get at quarterback, which I mean, it could be Shooter Sanders. And I was talking to my mom and Matt about this before we started the podcast. There was a YouTube short that came out about a day or two ago of Primetime and his son Shadeur having a what seemed like just a casual conversation. It wasn't in front of the press or anything. It was just a regular conversation. And they sounded very confident that Shadeur Sanders was going to be drafted by New York. And they made a joke. The joke was as following. They got Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston because they're both church boys and they're going to pray that you don't get injured or sacked or anything or have a bad game. They're going to be baptizing you every game pregame. And Shadeur Sanders laughed about it and, actually agreed with the statement and felt like, yeah, you know what? That's what I'm going to be. Like he feels that New York is going to pick him. If that does not happen, we're going to be in a very bizarre situation where we might. So this is what I saw CBS Sports say. This came out a day ago. We might be in a position where if Shadeur Sanders and Travis Hunter are gone somehow, we may not even get Cam Ward. They think that we're not going to get Cam Ward and we're just going to overlook him and go for a rusher, an edge rusher. I believe his name was let me see. I have it pulled up right here.
Abdul Carter.
My man. Yes, this is why you're here. This is exactly why you're here.
That's the thing is like if Cam Ward falls, I don't see any way, shape, or form the Titans pass up on Cam Ward because he is the number one
I
on
agree.
everybody's draft board right now. Titans need a quarterback. Will Levis is just not the answer for them.
No.
And the Browns are in a very interesting situation because with them they basically came out earlier this week, the Haslets, and they said, yeah, we swung and missed on Deshaun Watson. I mean, that was a huge blunder. I mean, the Giants
Yes,
and the Browns, they both share the same seat at the pew. I mean,
they
they're
they
both in
really do.
they're
They
both in
do.
the toilet right now. And I'm just curious to see where they go. They could go a quarterback. I mean, but it just seems from where Adam Schefter's coming from and from ESPN and a lot of these beat writers, a lot of them are selling that the quarterback that Cam Ward's going to go one, of course, but then Shadeur is going to drop. And you know what? As a
I
Giants
don't see
fan,
that.
I'm
I don't see that.
I'm okay with that. I know that Shador might be this. He comes with Dion. He comes with the glitz, the glamour, right? I originally thought that Shador was not going to be a good fit for New York, and because
Hmm.
obviously New York being the big spotlight and whatnot.
Right.
I'm starting to come around to the whole Shador thing, even though he may not be the answer for the Giants, but I feel like it takes a special person to come into New York as a quarterback. You got the bright lights on you. I mean, you look at people who can handle, like, even the Yankees with Derek Jeter and
Hmm.
a lot of these greats that came even before Jeter, and the people who, and like Eli Manning for the Giants as well. Like, you got to know how to harness that pressure. And being at the New York Football Giants, I mean, granted, you're in North Jersey, but you got hop, skip, and a jump. New York is right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And for them to being able to harness that, I feel like Shador can do that. I
Hmm.
feel like he could handle that pressure because some players Daniel Jones couldn't do it. I mean, there's tons
No.
of players in the past couldn't do it, but you have to harness that. It takes a very special player. Who knows? Maybe if Cam Ward fell to the Giants at 3, maybe he couldn't handle it in New York. I feel like Shador, as of right now, would be the best fit. But like I said, he might be a good fit, but I don't know if I see him as the heir apparent to Eli Manning or
Hmm.
the or Phil Simms, right?
Hmm.
So it's just that let's see what Dave Ball does in year one with them. I mean, with Russell Wilson, it's a nice little stopgap for them. I do like the move with Russell. I mean, he brings leadership. He's a former Super Bowl champion. He might have
Hmm.
bounced back from teams here and there, but he's a great locker room leader, just like Jameis Winston is.
Yes.
Like they're both going to bring stability and leadership to this Giants
Yes.
organization that they desperately, desperately lack since the Eli departure. They really did.
And Saquon, really, because Saquon was our last leader that you could put in that position where people could galvanize around that person. Once you took that away, we had nothing. We were lifeless. It was just like it's just a locker room. There was no one really in there that really had the voice. You got rid of Julius. Oh my God, what's his name? Julius, the safety.
Julian.
Julian Love, not Julius. I was thinking of Julius Peppers for some odd reason. You can tell I'm
Mm.
rusty, everyone. But Julian Love,
Yeah.
Julian Love, we had him. He was supposed to be a captain. Actually, he was captain. They made him captain of the defense, and then they let him go. And then we didn't have Xavier McKinney anymore. So it's like we didn't have anyone in the secondary to control anything on defense. The linebackers were people coming in from different teams. Okereke was really the only one that could have been a leader, but for some reason he wasn't. And it didn't work out. The defense lost its voice as well. Dexter Lawrence was the main attraction because he's so dominant and he has an interesting personality, but he wasn't a leader. He's just somebody that's a flashy guy who's very good and dominant at his position. And that's not a leader. That is somebody who just, I don't want to say he's a showboater, but he definitely draws attention to him, but he's not
He
leading
just
that
took it to
team.
himself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not
And
leading.
in the chat, Matt, someone with the username Intel is recognized you, said Maddie. Is someone you know?
Yeah,
Maddie.
that's somebody I know. Yeah, that's my one of my good that's one of my good buddies. He's one of my good buddies of mine. So he's a good buddy of mine. So thanks for the shout out. I appreciate it. Guys want to go check out his music. He's also in music as well. So go check him out
Okay.
as well. So that's something
Ah,
he's into music. So he's got some good music. Go check him out on his Spotify and all that. But yeah, but anyway, it's just for me like uh it's just so interesting where this, I'll open to the floor, you guys too. It's just like, where did this Giants team go? Right? I mean, it's just like, I'm okay with the Travis Hunter pick at 3.
Yes,
I
I
mean, I
am
know
too.
well,
I
we're
put,
all okay with it. Is the front office okay with it? How about that?
I don't
that's
know.
right. Yeah.
Now,
But here's
here's
the good
oh, go
thing.
ahead,
Go
go ahead, go
ahead.
ahead.
What?
So what I wanted to do is I wanted to finish my thought with the Abdul Carter fellow. They were going to try to draft or Dart in the second round. Do you think that's possible that we do that? That we just get Dart in the second round, and go for Abdul Carter if Travis Hunter and Shadeur Sanders and Cam Ward somehow something goes where one of them Shadeur Sanders moves out, we don't get him. and then all of a sudden Cam Ward's out, Travis Hunter's out, and we pick Abdul Carter at 3, and then we just
See,
pass on Shadeur.
this is what I think should happen. The fact that this regime is already in some icy water right now, and they could get
Mhm.
fired next year.
And they should.
For the sake of the franchise, like if they're not in love with this Shador,
Mhm.
don't take him because you're going
Right.
to set that franchise back even farther.
Yes.
Because Daniel Jones, that said, I don't care what anybody says. They said it. That set us back 10 years. It just
Easily.
did.
Easily.
10,000%.
100%.
So
100%.
and yeah, and so if you're going to do that again, then you're doing the Giants a huge disservice. You draft the best available. Either it's Abdul Carter or Cam or I'm sorry, the Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, or if you
Cam.
like that other or Travis Hunter or whatnot, or that other
Not
offensive tackle Mason Graham. If they really like Mason
Mason.
Graham, yeah, that defensive lineman, take him instead of putting yourself in that quarterback territory. Because if you draft quarterback at the first round, you're gonna have to stick with them for like 2-3 years. But if
Yeah.
you take a quarterback in the second or third round, you don't really have to just be sold on a guy and be like, all right, well, the new regime can come in next year because I'm telling you right now, the Giants are not going to win that many games this year. I don't care what anybody says. I mean,
Absolutely,
yeah,
I
it's
agree.
not happening. Yeah, they're
It'll
they
be
not.
about the
don't.
same. It'll be about the same. Maybe 2 or 3 more wins if you have Russell Wilson and them playing.
Yes. Oh,
Maybe.
absolutely. Because Russell is like we all seen is he's at the tail end of his career. He's
Yep.
not the same quarterback. He does not have the same
No.
mobility. Does not have the same arm strength he used to have.
Mm-mm.
And for him, it's just he played well earlier on last year, but
He
I don't know
did.
what happened the second half of the year. I don't know if he just lost his step or the quarterback. I mean, I know there was a lot of issues with offensive coordinators going on. Like there's a lot of disconnect from Russell Wilson and management that I was reading as well. So I don't know. But the thing is, I am okay with drafting a quarterback in the second or third round. Get that guy Tyler Shue maybe out of Louisville. He's got a good arm. He's got good read ball skills. Love him for that. And then take that best player available, and maybe see who you can get out of maybe take Kayvon Thibodeau or a or even I'm just gonna say it Evan Neal because I'm telling you right now
Oh, he's a
I'm
bust.
not I am
Oh
not a huge Evan
God.
Neal fan.
He's a bust. They're thinking about moving him to
He,
guard. They're thinking about
he had
literally moving him from tackle to guard. That's what they're trying to do.
They're
Which
this is gonna
basically means they
another
admitted
seat filler.
he failed. They admitted that that was a failure. With that movement there, they're gonna move him to guard. That's a failure. So
yes,
now
just
you
like
have
Eric
to find
Flowers.
Yes, Eric Flowers. I was terrible. I hated Eric Flowers.
He
I
was
hated him.
really a bad
I
pick.
hated him.
He
He
didn't
was
deliver on anything. I mean, not
no,
even once did he deliver any sort
no.
of quality plays or
I think he's still
add
playing in the
value.
league. No, isn't he on he was on a division rival at one point. He was on the back when they were just the Washington football
He's
team, I believe.
serving
Mm.
serving in the seat filler role.
Yes. So Evan Neal is moving. They actually were able to keep. So what they did was they basically kept everyone on the offense, which was ranked dead last, by the way, aside from Daniel Jones. We kept every single person except for Daniel Jones. Oh, and I guess, Saquon, walking away. But like literally everyone else is still there. So that offensive line is still going to be bottom 5. So no matter who
It
you put at the
is.
quarterback position is going to struggle. I would actually rather put Shador Sanders in there because he struggled with his offensive line because he was playing for Colorado. You got
You could.
Dart playing on Ole Miss, who had all the time in the world. If you watch his highlights, all you're going to hear the commentator saying, Dart with a lot of time. Like, that's all you hear. He has time. He can sit in the pocket strong. You can't do that on the New York Giants offense right now. You can't sit in the pocket. You got to be prepared to move out, throw on the run. You got to just be prepared to run. Forget about just throwing. You got to be prepared to run out of the pocket and run. Like
Oh yeah.
you can't play that kind of offense in the New York Giants stadium. You have to play like a Shador Sanders. So someone like a Shador Sanders
He,
who's used to having pressure, bring him
I
over.
feel like I feel like the only way that shaved the regime from last year for Joe Shane is having a real. I think they had a really good draft last year. I love
They
the
did. They
Tyler.
actually did.
I really like the Tyler Newbin picked. I really
Yes.
like this Tyron Tracy. Get
Yes.
them all on rookie contracts.
Hmm.
Theo Johnson. I love Theo Johnson, by the way, the fourth
I
rounder
hated
out of
him and
Penn
now I like
State.
him. I
I
hated him,
really
but now I
do
like him.
like what he brings to the table because I know the Giants are a little bit thin at tight end, but I think he
Yes.
adds a solid piece for them.
Hmm.
And they did add a lot of nice role players, plus what they did. I mean, this year's free agency. I mean, talking about some of these players like Paulson Adebo. I mean, that basically solidified the cornerback for them coming out of
Yeah, it
Miami.
did. Hmm.
I mean, I know he did miss a considerable amount of time last year,
Hmm.
but I think he's a plug and play corner. He starts right away.
Yep.
Uh, and I think that's going to really help out the Giants. I think Tyler Nubin's going to get a lot better from last year, like we've talked about. Um,
Don't
and
forget Javon
just
Holland. We brought in Javon Holland, so the
Oh yeah,
veteran.
that's right. I love Javon Holland. I've
Yeah,
seen
he's good.
some tape on him. He's got some good ball skills, and I'm just see it really it frustrates me because I really liked Martindale. I
I miss
really
him.
liked him
He's
because he
missed.
was a great defensive coordinator.
Wink was,
Yes.
I mean, the fact that whatever issues was happening between Wink and Dayball, and that got in the way of that guy actually staying with the team and providing the value, continuing to provide the value because the defense was on point when he was there. That was the best we had.
And what's
Um,
Yes.
disturbing? Oh, go ahead, mom. I'm sorry.
and the fact that, all this turmoil
Hmm.
every season between personalities. It's like it's a job, guys. It's like why is everybody trying? Everybody is trying to have their bravado and trying to, and then it just messes the dynamics up. And we didn't we have
Egos.
a we have yeah we haven't recovered from that. And Wink, of course, has
No.
gone on to greater things, right?
Everyone, and that's the
Yes, he
thing.
is.
Everyone that has left has gone on to greater things. Xavier McKinney basically leading the NFL in interceptions. And what's crazy is you can't make it up. You literally can't make it up. And
No,
what's
you can't.
crazy is we paid Javon Holland what we could have paid and should have paid Xavier McKinney.
That's
We paid
right.
him 15 million a year. Why couldn't we do
Hmm.
that for Xavier McKinney last year?
Hmm.
What was the difference between last year and this year? We're still broke. I don't understand. I don't know.
Speaking. I know this is a little bit off topic, but speaking of contracts, it still blows my mind that I if like Daniel Jones's agent should be be in the agent Hall of Fame because there's
Yeah,
no
what is
way
going on with that? How is
there's
he still?
no way in my mind that you can convince me he gets 14 million a year for doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
He
how?
is
How?
he is he is a he's
He's
I
a
just
scrub. You say
He's
he's
it.
a
a
He's a
safe
scrub.
bona fide
filler.
scrub. Say
Yeah,
He
he's a
is
scrub.
he
He's a
and
bona
a
fide
safe
scrub.
filler. He
I
Yes,
fills
mean
a
I,
QB, a third
I
string
mean
QB slot.
that's
That's it.
that part. That part. That's all he's there for. Is a depth spot.
I
That's
will
it.
I will say he's a nice. I think he's a very nice man, and
Yeah, he is nice.
I would definitely allow
He's
him
a
to date my
nice
future
man.
daughter. But
Right. He would
but
date like your daughter for sure.
for
He's
I
that
can
kind of
say he's got a lot of money.
guy.
I mean, yeah,
Right.
sure, why not?
That's true. He's got
So
money. He's
great.
suckered us out of money.
That's the truth.
His value is that he'd make a nice son-in-law.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
That's right.
That's a
Craig,
shame when that's what you
But
could say about an athlete. That's a shame.
oh yeah, oh man.
He
But
did. I wish I could say he did it to himself, but he didn't ask to be picked at number 6, and he probably didn't think he would have been. You saw his face when he went up there. He was just like,
oh, he didn't know how to. Yeah, he was not prepared for that.
I can see why. I mean, he played at Duke. It's not like he played at Ole Miss like Dart or Eli or anyone else like that. It's not like he played at Alabama. He played at friggin' Duke. They're known for basketball. I can't name any other player on that Duke team that was there when Daniel Jones got drafted. I didn't even realize Daniel Jones was playing. I'm not going to lie to you because I don't watch Duke football. So I just didn't know that he was even a player.
I don't think a lot of people watch Duke football.
Yeah. You make a good point there.
Yeah, it's just I mean, hey, there's
Unless
gonna
they're
be a
on
lot of
the
people.
receiving end of a highlight.
I mean, hey, talking about Carolina's the North Carolina, everybody's gonna be watching them this coming year with
Yeah,
Bill
they are.
Belichick. So
Yeah,
hey, talking about Carolinas, but
that's going to be interesting. Oh
yeah,
man, Bill
but
Belichick is going to terrorize college football. Jesus. Oh God. At least he's not. Did you want him to be a Giant? Real quick, random topic. Did you want Bill Belichick to be
I mean,
on the
that means
Giant
he would
staff?
be coming back. He would be coming back because remember he has
Yeah,
Giants history,
that's what I
right?
meant.
He'd be
Sorry,
coming
I would
back.
phrase
Yeah.
it. Would you want him to come back? If he had decided to come back, how would you have felt, Matt? Because me personally, if he's the general manager or anything like that, if he's doing coaching, that's fine. But I don't want him making any general manager decisions.
I would say yes, as a talent evaluator, he definitely doesn't have the skills in that department. We've seen that in New England, but
Hmm.
I definitely I would love him to be a coach because hey, I mean, yeah, he might be a 70-year-old play coach, but hey, he still can coach. I mean, he's still
I
got a
believe
wealth
that.
of
Yep.
knowledge. I what I kind of have a pause for because he is from a lot of the old generation, and what I concern for him is being able to connect with these younger players.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
obviously. I mean, obviously, with the help of his now girlfriend, I mean, maybe that I have a change of heart with that. But I mean, yeah,
Yes,
it's
yes.
but
She's his connection to the newer generations.
correct. But no,
That's
I would love
funny.
Belichick. He's got made a lot of big history with the Belichick. He won two Super Bowls for the Giants as a defensive coordinator in the late '80s, early '90s, and to be able to bring a guy like him back, he's always loved the Giants organization. Always loved to see them do well. Sometimes I feel like Belichick let us win those two Super Bowls against him in '07 and '11 because they loved him so much. But I mean, Bill Belichick has a love for North Jersey with those New York Giants, but I think he would bring stability again. Because I don't really see, I don't know. Here, I'm gonna have a question for the panel, but I just curious, do you guys both of you, do you guys think that both Dayball and Shane retain their jobs next year? Yes or no?
Mom, you can answer that first.
I don't think, definitely not Joe Shane. Dayball, because he has a sort of a swagger that relates to the players, today's players. He might be able to have a little bit more shelf life than Joe. But Joe, we again, every episode of this of our show, Matt, we've mentioned the Hard Knocks last summer, and that literally showed his lack of ability to make good decisions, take the lead, and actually do what needs to be done in the situation when the others around you are unsure. And maybe not even listening, because the whole Mara
Yes.
comment about not being able to sleep at night. It seems Joe, if he had just pushed a little harder, and also had thought about what he was saying when he said to Saquon that, hey, go out there and test the market. I mean, that was like stupid. I mean, that was
Hmm.
like, how do you say
Stupid.
that
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, so that shows you that he's not in that right position. I don't think he should be a GM anywhere anymore. I don't
Me
think
either.
he doesn't have the chops for it. His leadership and decision making have proven to be extremely misguided and poor. So no
Oh,
Joe
without
Shane.
it.
Dayball, maybe one more season after 2025. Maybe.
Hmm.
I agree
Hmm.
with my mom, except for I'm a lot harsher of a fan. Dayball should be gone too.
It's what.
Mainly because he and I'm only gonna say this is the main reason. You got rid of Wink Martindale, man. You made him leave. He resigned. It wasn't
Hmm.
because of anything else other than you. You were just a
Hmm.
jerk. He didn't like that you went behind his back and fired his staff after speaking with him, and Wink said, I don't want any of these coaches to leave. And he said, okay, no problem, and fired him anyway. It shows that he
Yeah.
doesn't care about what his coworkers think. And I mean, that reflected in that clip of them screaming at each other on the sideline. And it
Hmm.
clearly, Dayball was just flexing his ego, and Wink was trying to just be respected as an equal. He didn't necessarily have to be respected as a head coach. He just wanted him to know, hey, look, I run this show too. I run the defense.
Right.
Let me
Well,
do
Right.
what I need to do.
if you remember a year or so ago when Wink was on the roster, I remember this very vividly. I remember I think Shane had to come in on the headset a couple times during the season, making sure everybody was on the same page because there was definitely a huge
Oh my
rift
God.
going on with I don't know, remember reading that somewhere. I don't know of that was, but it really was just a crumbling situation. I mean, also when you like you guys are saying you let go of your absolute leader, your dog in the locker room. I mean that just shows a lack of just. I mean, Mara even was pleading on Hard Knocks, please keep this man.
Yeah.
He is our heart, blood, and soul of this franchise, and you basically let him walk out of the door for nothing.
Yeah.
And you know,
Got nothing for it but a
and I
but a losing season. That's it.
Get literally in the 100th season at that. It was our 100th season as a franchise, and we had to get demolished and watch it happen. And that
yeah.
that and we couldn't do anything but just sit there and be upset. That's
Hmm.
it. And it's hard. That's hard as a fan, as a general manager. How can you sit there and look
And
like Maris said, sleep at night, knowing that you created that?
And it absolutely pains me to say this, but I mean, living in the Northeast area in hostile territory, the Philadelphia Eagles are a light years ahead of the New York Giants, just in terms of just personnel, leadership, knowing what they're doing. It's just this is like musical chairs on the Titanic. It's just like
Yeah,
they absolutely have
pretty
no clue what
much.
they're
Musical
doing.
chairs on the Titanic.
I mean, I hate to say this. It pains me. I love what the Eagles have done with their whole team. I know that half their team now is basically gone now through free agency, and a couple of their coordinators are gone. But
Will
that's not
that
even going to
matter?
matter.
I was
That's
just about
not.
to say, will that matter? I don't know.
That's not. I don't think it's going to matter for Jalen because Jalen has, he's done that throughout his entire career. So that's
That's
not going to
true.
bother me. But they got so many players I absolutely love, like a lot of Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, I'm a huge Georgia Bulldog fan and big SEC guy. I'm talking about like these like Jalen Carter and like it's
They just took
just
Azeez Ojulari, who played at Georgia.
and they took my
They just took
favorite
him from
Giant
us. We
too.
just lost a
So
Georgia player to
uh,
them. They love
Yep.
yeah,
Georgia. Like,
He
yeah.
happily went over there too,
oh,
believe
happily,
me.
because he knows he has a way better chance of winning and being in that championship limelight. Um, so
Yeah.
it's unfortunate. It really is. And like Matt and myself and my mom have been saying, Giants fans, we've set ourselves back 10 years. Any other mistakes would just be monumental in the sense that we would just be setting ourselves back another decade or half decade. And that is not what you should be doing when you're rebuilding. So
Mhm.
the next draft, this draft right here is key in our interim success. What can we do in these next 2 to 3 years? How can we turn this around?
Mhm.
And that's a lot of pressure on a general manager who literally threw everything out last year. so,
And
so
that's what I don't understand is like they keep these guys around. And I think Mara is a very dysfunctional owner. I think he
he
is on
is.
the
He's
same.
too old,
I think he's
respectfully.
on the same par as Jerry Jones. I mean, they're both
Oh,
delusional.
they're
I mean, when
Well,
you
old.
have,
they're both
yeah, go ahead.
delusional, but Jerry talks too much. How about that? He's
Yeah,
out there saying
that's the
he says too
difference.
much.
That's the difference. Jerry
He
Jones
says
is
too
about
much.
it with the talking. Mara
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
kind of sits back, and we only really saw how he felt in Hard Knocks. He doesn't go
Right.
out there and make statements
Mhm.
like that.
He doesn't
No,
really
for
do
sure.
newsers or anything. Jerry speaks after every game. Like Mara doesn't do that.
No,
Hmm.
and if Mara did do that, I'm sure we'd all feel like we need therapy because he just seems so depressed and like I
It's
just
just,
feel so
but
bad.
when this Giants regime is really on the brink of just getting tanked again, it's just it kind of it still blows my mind that why do these players still want to come to the Giants, knowing that this regime could be on its way out. I mean, I still think Russell Wilson is going to be a nice little game manager next year. He's not going
Yes.
to light the world on fire. He's not going to win us a Super Bowl. But
Mm-mm.
still, regardless, we as a organization need to find the next franchise quarterback because
Yeah.
we've seen this in time and time again. You can't run a ship without its captain, right? I
Nope.
mean, you can get your Malik Neighborses of the world, you get your Travis Hunters, you can get all your big skill maker players, even like Saquon. When you had Saquon, you still need the captain to know
Mm-hmm.
how to bring us back into winning a championship
Yeah.
again. So because the Eagles aren't going anywhere.
Nope.
The Commanders are up and coming. I
They're
mean,
on the rise. Watch out for them.
Jaden Daniels is
100%.
Jaden Daniels is going to be hell for all of us coming up, and Jalen Hurts is. I mean, Eagles. He said it, but and then the Cowboys. I don't know.
As long as
They're
Jerry
just
Jones is still
whatever.
there, we don't gotta worry about nothing.
That's true. Cowboys are the Cowboys for
So,
sure.
but
But
you have a point. Those two others, those are a big problem. The Washington Commanders and the Eagles, that's a problem. And not just for
They're
us, for the whole
problems.
NFC, like the whole NFC in
mhm,
general. Like that's a problem.
Hmm.
So
absolutely
we'll have to see what
for
happens. But
sure.
I feel that whatever we do in this draft, they better deliver. Whatever happens, they got to deliver. I don't care because
You mean the draft picks themselves? They actually
yes, the
better
draft
bring
picks
what
themselves.
right.
They
Okay.
need to deliver because we can't keep getting these Evan Neal picks, these Kadarius Tonys. We can't keep doing that.
No.
We can't have another Kadarius Tony. That can't
Oh
happen.
God,
That
no.
can't happen. As long as I'm still alive, that can't happen again. Like that can't because I'm gonna go through it. That can't happen again. We can't
Remember,
have a Daniel Jones either. That can't happen.
remember that was the same draft we could have had Devontae Smith, and look how he turned out.
Yes, that was
Yes.
horrible.
Yes.
I
And
know.
every time Devontae Smith scores, I feel like a piece of me dies.
Yes. Every
Like
time I heard his
every
name
time, every
in the
time,
Devontae Smith, yeah.
playoffs, I heard his name
I
in the
get
Super Bowl.
sick.
I was
I
like,
get sick. I have to make sure I have a trash can and be like, and Devontae Smith with a 75-yard touchdown. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like
just
I
all
can't, I
we
can't, I
just
can't.
we could just see all
Mm.
the Giants' mistakes, playing live,
In
right in
real
front of
time.
us
It's
in real
crazy.
time. Yeah.
And
Uh,
Xavier McKinney, eight weeks into the season, not to cut you off, he's leading the league in interceptions. We're not even halfway done
Yeah.
with the season. He's leading the league in interceptions. I'm just like, oh my God.
He had a very good season. He had a very
Hmm.
good season post New York Giants
He went
contract. He
off.
had a
Yeah,
very
no.
yes, he had a very good season. So in the chat, John Urbano said that Matt, that you have some great insights. You know John Urbano. If not, you have a new fan.
Oh, that's another one of my good boys. Actually, shout out, it's his birthday. Happy birthday to Mr. Urbano today. So shout out to him. You
Happy
also go
birthday.
check out his music too. He's got great EDM with
Well,
his
you know, a
sisters, so
bunch of
that's great stuff. So
musicians.
Nothing
yeah, I
wrong with
know.
that.
I know everybody. So
Nothing wrong with that.
oh yeah, so he's got I love his EDM. It's great. It's great music.
Oh,
So
I
it's
like
much love.
EDM.
We've
Good
got
Yeah.
good video game music.
we got another chat. Somebody named Stu Vision, who says he's an Eagles fan, but is going
Yeah,
to
of
tell
course.
the honest opinion. The Giants are at least 3 years away from competing for the division.
No, we ain't. Don't
I
do that. Don't do that.
wait.
Competing
Are
with the
you saying
division?
at least 3 years away from doing that? So basically, no. Maybe in 3 years we'll get there again.
I don't see that.
It's,
You think it's
We
further out?
haven't addressed the line in
This is
10
true.
years.
So he's
it's
being more
right.
We
optimistic.
haven't addressed the line.
Still our friend in the chat here, who's an Eagles fan, is more optimistic than us Giants fans.
Because he's trolling. There's no way. How are we
3 years.
this
Oh
the
God.
definition of insanity, I'm gonna say it again, is doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. We
Yeah.
have not effectively addressed the offensive line in a decade plus. I'm gonna say something right now that's gonna make y'all mad. We haven't won more than 5 times in the last 15 years. We haven't won more than 7 games. We only done that 5 times in 15 years.
And 2 playoff wins
And,
in the
two
last
playoff
15
wins
years.
in 15 years. So,
Yep.
and that
Mhm.
all the
Bad.
common denominator is we've had a bottom 5 line in that span. That's the common denominator. So,
And I hate.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, no, and this is the thing I was going to say too. The 2 wins in the last 15 years, and it pains me because we see it recently with the whole Eli Manning Hall of Fame discussion. Now, is he a Hall of Famer? Yes. Is he a
Mhm.
first ballot? I still agree that he's not, but he's still
If
like one of the all-time greats. I mean, if you have to
yes,
question it, then he's not a Hall of Fame, like not a first ballot. But I
Mhm.
do believe
Yeah.
if the Giants gave him a much better supporting cast towards his later half of his career, like a better offensive line and maybe some better wide receivers that they had. I mean, it disappointed because Victor Cruz, he was on next up and coming in 2011. Then he had his a devastating patellar injury against the Eagles. I remember that.
Poor guy.
But there's so many things I can imagine. The injuries just kept piling up
Yes,
on both sides of the ball, and they had to just with the offensive line, they didn't help Eli because Eli they basically let him hung out to dry. I
they
mean,
really
it's
did. They
just
really
Yeah.
yeah,
did. They
they did.
did.
He
Yeah.
could have won. Maybe he would definitely would have not made as many mistakes. I mean, he has some high interception counts, but that has to come from poor offensive line. I mean, he did have some bad decisions for sure, but when
He
you have a
did.
bad offensive line, you're going to be, erratic. You're going to throw balls and maybe double coverage sometimes just to try to make a play. So, I mean, hey, it's just a shame. Everybody likes to make fun of Eli, but they don't. If they don't know Giants football and they don't watch football, then you're just kind of just spitting out hot air because it's just
Yes,
I watched all of Eli Manning's games. He forced a lot of balls. So,
he
and I
sure
know where
did.
those interceptions are from. Nobody sees; they just see numbers. It's disappointing.
And he got
So,
clobbered while doing it. He
oh,
got
for sure.
demolished. I don't know how durable he was. Like, I don't know how he got that durable, rather, because like he got clobbered a lot. Daniel Jones wouldn't have been able to take those hits that Eli was taking. Like it
Mhm.
was bad. It was bad. It was real bad.
Oh, absolutely. No, that's for sure.
Matt, also, it looks like a relative of yours, Frank Schenko. Was that true? A
That's my
Matt's
relative of
Mr.
father.
yours?
Wonderful today. I love it.
That's my father.
Oh, Mr.
That's my
Schenko,
father.
thanks for joining us. He said we could blame Shane for Saquon, but Saquon did not want to play for the Giants because he knew they were a losing organization. Well, that's not what he said
Low key,
in
he's
Hard
kind of
Knocks.
he didn't say that in Hard Knocks, but low key, I kind of could see where he's coming from because it's very hard to play for, like I said, the definition of insanity. It's hard to play for a franchise that does not make the changes they need to win. Yes, Saquon loved to be a New York Giant, and yes, he wanted to play for the New York. But when you start getting that kickback from management saying, go test the market, go test the market. Because again, it was implied that Saquon has said many times to Joe Shane. They've had this conversation more than once, clearly, because he said, I already told you where I want to be. Already is such a powerful word in that
Yeah,
conversation because
yeah.
he sounded over it. He's like, I told you where I wanted to be. Like, why are we having this conversation again? So
Right.
to be told to go test the market after everything you did, he really didn't want to play for us at that point anymore because he chose the statement was made when he went to the Eagles. He's like, all right, you know what? I'm done. I'm just gonna go to the Eagles. And he signed for the same money that we offered. So that's the biggest slap in the face right there.
Mhm.
He said it for you right there without saying it. All right, you know what? If you really don't want me to be here, fine. I'm gonna go over to Philly. And I'm gonna raise
Hmm.
hell. And that's exactly what he did. So I kind of see where he's coming from. That's not a hot take. I get it. He definitely wanted to be a
Mhm.
giant, but when you have a manager telling you over and over to go test the market, at some point you don't want to be a giant anymore.
Right.
And that
You don't
happened.
feel welcome. You don't feel welcome. I mean, if they're
Yeah.
telling you to go ahead and leave, it's just like if in a marriage, it's one spouse says to the other, I think I want to see other people. Like that's it. Like
Yeah.
that they're saying it out loud to you. It's the same thing. It's like go see other people, Saquon. It's okay.
Yeah.
We're
Mhm.
fine. It's because we don't
Yeah.
want you. That's a we don't want you moment.
Yeah. But then you keep that schmuck Daniel Jones and you keep him because he did something to prove and deserve that he's supposed to be there somehow, some
Mhm.
way. He deserved to be there on the team. That just makes it worse. That makes it so much
Mhm.
worse if you're Saquon. So they keep him and they tell you to leave.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
wild to me, and I totally understand why he went to the Eagles. It's the most understandable crash out I think in NFL history. Yep, I'm just gonna go play for the rival then. That's fine.
Well, he's also, I mean, he's also a local kid. He went to, I believe
Yes.
he was, I think he went to,
Not
I'm not
Lower
sure where he
Marion.
went to. I know he's from like the
He
Philadelphia-ish
is.
region.
He is. I
Went to
can't
Penn.
remember
He
where.
went. He was like Allentown. Went to Penn State.
Yeah.
Allentown. That's where it was.
So he wanted
Hmm.
It
to
makes
stay
sense.
local, and I
He
told him,
did,
yeah, it
but he
did.
grew up a Giants fan somehow. He loved the Giants. So I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know how that happened.
It's
I
a
don't know who
it's a
brainwashed him.
sad story. But let's
it's
talk.
hard.
Let's transition into Russell Wilson's first press conference,
Oh yes.
which as a publicist, I will tell you he was definitely using talking points.
Oh, he 100%.
And 100% had talking points that he had memorized and possibly was referring to off to the side. And
Yes.
the fact and the way he referenced almost every player, active player on the roster in
That was a
every
little weird.
response.
That was
It
weird.
was
I
like,
didn't.
oh yes, what Brian Burns and it was out there with Malik and I were. I mean, he just kept talking about
Jalen
every.
Hyatt not getting
Uh,
utilized
the,
enough.
yeah, it
Very
was like he
robotic.
just. It was very robotic, but he definitely had a set of talking points which he stuck to, which I'm not mad at because as a publicist, I would want my subject matter expert to say do the same thing, but it almost came off too programmed.
It
Yeah.
definitely did. But if you look at the comment section, a little robotic as well. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, Russell Wilson is so smart. He's so great. I love his personality. I'm so happy he's a giant." I'm like, why are we talking about personality? Why are we talking about how he answered the questions? Why are we
Well,
not focusing on the fact that he was a robot when when he was answering all the questions? And if you look at his
uh-huh.
record in the last 5 years, I believe he's 35 and 36.
Mm,
Why are we not talking about that?
Yeah.
yikes.
So like
Russ,
those are the
yeah.
things that you have to pay attention to. Forget about how he
I,
was. Go ahead, Matt.
yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I don't know what both of you guys feel. I'm a little bit old school here, but I don't know. I think they pressed him with a question. They said, "Oh, you think you're gonna be the starting quarterback next year?" I mean, granted, yeah, he won a Super Bowl. Let's not give him, cause for concern. But like, he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna be the starting quarterback next year." But it's like, I get that you're a former Super Bowl winning quarterback, and you're a leader. You've done it for 10 plus years and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I believe you earn it before you being able to give the starting job. I get it, he's getting starter money. I just would like to hear him say like, well, I'm gonna have to go out in training camp and show that
Improve
I can
myself.
prove myself and get the job because you're past your prime at this
Way
point.
past it, respectfully
And
to
I
him.
think I think it's just you have to still prove. I think you have to still prove it.
Yes.
It's just he didn't play all his snaps last year. I mean, I remember he 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 wasn't healthy last year. I think he had I don't know, correct me if I guys I'm wrong, like a wrist injury or something like that. I know he had
He
some
had
type of
no, it was
injury
a
going
wrist
or a
injury.
calf.
And
Or
that's
was
why
a wrist. Okay.
homeboy went in there.
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields. I almost called him Jason something. I don't know why. I don't know why Jason is in my head. but
But no,
but
it's
Justin
just I
Fields,
don't
yeah, that's what
know.
he got his
I'm a little
spotlight
old.
for a little bit.
I'm a little old school with that, so I didn't really like hearing that. But I get the whole thing. You come to New York and you bring Ciara, and you're bringing them to your press conference with Dayball. That just it just rubbed me the wrong way. It's like, are you really here to win, or are you just here for the glitz and glamour? Because you're bringing Ciara and all that. Yeah, I don't know.
I can add on to that. you're kind of
Yeah.
cooking. You're cooking with this because if you
Yeah.
remember last year, Stephen A. Smith was very pissed at
Hmm.
his press conference before Russ actually started playing with Pittsburgh Steelers. He came in and they talked about winning in Pittsburgh, and he kind of nonchalantly said he wasn't worried about it. Like I'm paraphrasing. He didn't actually say it like that, but it's the way that he nonchalantly answered the questions and wasn't concerned about winning right away. And Stephen A. Smith got pissed off because he's like, "This is the black and gold. Who are you coming in here talking about? You don't really care about winning, or like it's not that big of a deal to you. Like
Hmm.
you're Russell freaking Wilson, and
Right.
you won a
Hmm.
Super Bowl, and you're coming in here talking about you're not worried about winning or anything like that, or the culture of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That is not
Yeah.
how you start. So it's like it's kind of the same thing. He's coming into New York, a little nonchalant, a little robotic, just saying what he thinks we want to hear. And like you said, he's bringing the glitz and glamour. He's got Sierra with him. He's in New York. He's in the Big Apple. It's it doesn't really scream to me that he's determined to turn things around. More so, he's happy to still be in the league and get a check and just be somewhere different and
Hmm.
leave an opportunity that didn't work out. That's what it seems like. But Jameis Winston kind of he looks like he actually wants to make a difference. I feel more passion in his interview with the press more so than with what Russ was bringing. Russ was very nonchalant, like a been there, done that kind of thing. That's what it kind of felt like. It's like, hey, you know what?
I
This
think
is
For
like
because
sure.
he has.
he
Because he
has.
has.
He's I've been hopping around, but Jameis Winston has the same kind of history. He's been hopping around teams,
Maybe more.
but
Hmm.
definitely maybe more. But he's more humble about it, and he sees
Oh
this as
yeah.
an opportunity to turn things around. He's not seeing it as an opportunity just to collect a check. How I feel about Russ is doing it. And
Yeah.
again, guys, I'm not trying to say he's doing that for anyone in the chat. I don't want you to think I'm just hating on Russ right now. This is what I feel from him. And
Hmm.
Jamie's made me feel more comfortable with him being a quarterback on our roster than Russell Wilson, which is weird to say because you'd want to feel more comfortable with someone who's
Well,
experienced and a Super Bowl
Some
winner.
with someone who does it always every other pass throws a pick six.
Yes, and
mhm.
actually praise that he doesn't throw interceptions. That literally,
Well,
he literally praised
you
that he doesn't throw picks.
well, you definitely have a much better quarterback room this year than you had last year. I mean,
Absolutely,
you had the
by
Tim
far.
Boyles of the world, you had the
In the last
DeVito,
six
and
years, actually, if you think about it.
just all
Yeah,
those. I mean,
sadly.
just Daniel Jones. It was horrible.
Don't
I
forget
mean,
Mike
yeah.
Glennon.
Ugh.
Bum. What a bum.
No, every
No,
time
that was yeah.
that makes
Negative
my
10
stomach
yards in a
turn.
game. Negative 10.
How did you
I'm
have
never going to
this
forget that.
Mike
No,
Glennon?
yeah,
What the
Mike.
hell
Oh
was
man.
that?
I'm never going to
Oh,
forget
that
that. And
was
Joe just had the nerve to say that he was proud of how his players played
oh,
after while having the
oh
negative 10 yards on the stat line.
it's horrible. Oh God, they've such the
I,
recent
I'm gonna
history has been
I'm
so
gonna throw
shady.
out I'm gonna throw out a hot take. It's not really a hot take, but
Oh, I
I
like
think
hot takes.
I think Kayvon Thibodeau is going to be a bust. I think
You think
coming
so?
to.
Wow.
I do. I do.
I could
His
see
sack
it.
his
I could
sacks
see it.
have diminished. I think he maybe had maybe a few sacks last year, and I just don't feel like I've seen plays even at Oregon. He takes plays off,
He
and I
does.
really just don't like his game. Like I feel like he's very passive. He just I see he doesn't he just dogs it,
He
and I
holds the
just
edge.
feel
He
like
autopilots and holds the edge.
and the fact that we have to waste another pick on a potential Abdur core, which I'm fine with, fine. But like, just move on from him. Just they whiffed on those two picks, Kayvon and Evan Neal. They just did.
Food for
I
thought
mean,
on
that's
Kayvon. Look at who we lost. We lost Leonard Williams. We
Yeah,
lost that
I love
Davison
Leonard
cat.
Williams.
We
yeah.
lost
Leonard Williams was good.
now we don't have Azeez Ojulari. So when you
Hmm.
got rid of Leonard Williams, you got rid of somebody that needed to be double teamed. So that puts
Hmm.
more pressure on Kayvon. Kayvon, I can't see him holding double teams consistently. That's not who
No.
he is. He's not a double team guy. He doesn't deserve to be double teamed. But guess what?
Hmm.
When it's just Dexter Lawrence and him, you just double those guys. Who else you got to
Hmm.
worry about? That's
Yeah.
pretty much it.
I
So
just yeah.
when you get rid of them, that's why he's diminishing. It's not, but I do agree with you that I've seen him on plays where he just sets the edge and he kind of just autopilots and he'll just stay there. And I'm just like,
Yes.
we don't just
Yes.
need you to set the edge. We need you to do more than that.
No. Yeah. And you
Yeah.
need to do more for Brian Burns too, because I mean Brian Burns
Yes.
did have a pretty solid year last year. I want to see him more involved
And not be as
in the
injured,
offense.
please.
But
Stay on the field. He needs to stay on the field too, because he
it's
got
a
hurt a
Right. He's
lot.
definitely injury prone. Yeah.
Yeah, he
We
got hurt
have
a lot.
I think it's Seamus Higgins
Maybe
says I
Seamus.
hope no, well
Seamus
maybe.
Higgins. Yeah,
But it
Seamus.
says SEA. Is that Seamus?
That's Seamus.
That's
And is
Seamus.
it Irish?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Seamus. Okay. I hope Russ brings back the Subway sandwich meme. Do I know that one? I don't know if I know that one.
Oh God. Yeah, yeah, I remember that very
Oh
much.
my
Oh
God.
yeah,
I have to look that up.
yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And
Oh
then
jeez.
Seamus also says the Joe Judge presser was something LOL. Thinking back to the negative yardage presser with Mike
Oh,
Glennon, I guess.
I had to
Yeah.
react to that because it was so horrible. He made me so mad. And he said everything with such a straight face. That bum. Joe Judge is terrible. He's
I don't think
terrible.
he never
He's
resurfaced,
terrible.
right? He never resurfaced in
He's
the
on the
NFL,
special
right?
teams. He's on the special teams for did he
Hmm.
went right back to the Patriots right after he left us. He went right back to the
Mhm.
Patriots. Bill Belichick brought him back, and I think he was just special teams or something. He was just doing what he was already doing.
Right.
Well,
So
I will say this. I will say for Seamus to make that comment, I'm happy he's not putting the Giants on blast because I know what team he supports. So I mean, right,
is it the
he
Cowboys?
supports. No, he supports the green and white, and that's in New York.
Okay,
So
as long as it's not the Cowboys. Oh, the Jets.
yeah.
Well, you know what?
They
I'm
have
not
their
even
own
gonna say
set of they
anything.
have their own set of mysteries coming up.
Yeah,
So
they've got their own things to work out.
I like Justin Fields though. I think they're in a much better direction now.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
do.
Than us?
I,
Oh,
I
oh, by far. Yeah, they're doing
Yeah,
great.
that I actually like what the Jets are doing. I mean, but I like what everybody else is doing besides what the Giants are doing. I
Yeah,
never like
look,
what the Giants are doing. I'm the most, and a lot of a lot of my friends know this. Probably the most pessimistic Giants fan you'll ever meet.
I'm
Like
up
if,
there
but
with you.
my one friend will go, "Oh, we made this move. Ah, who cares? They should have dumped them yesterday."
That's
Like
literally me all the
I
time.
like I don't care. We could have had this player. Oh, we could have had that player. Oh, you draft this player. Oh, we could have had that player. I'm the same way. I don't care. Giants can't do anything right.
No,
Nothing right.
we can't.
No.
And it looks sometimes it looks like we're doing a great move on paper, but you're looking at it and you're like, this is garbage. Like what are we doing? We're just bringing in a bag of chips. Like we're not doing anything. Like
No.
the people that they brought in a bunch of people who performed worse than Evan Neal in terms of
Mhm.
linemen. We brought in offensive linemen that had lower performance in terms of I can't speak.
You remember
Pass
when
block win rate
you
was
remember when they
lower.
brought Justin Pugh off the couch the one year?
Yeah, that was
That was the joke. Oh my goodness, that was a joke.
I thought I
there
was
was
had living
there
a
was
nightmare
I
when
think
that
there was
happened.
wasn't there other players that were coming off the sofa that
Quite a
season?
few,
That was
quite a few.
I think
Quite a
that was
few.
a season where a number of off the sofa players were coming because I
It was
remember
bad.
saying it multiple times in one season. Like another guy off the sofa. Somebody just sitting there hoping, looking at their cell phone, just hoping that they
Just
see a
waiting to
call
get a
from a
text.
team, any team, please, please.
Oh
I
man,
think
that's
Justin Pugh came back because a lineman had like a friggin' toe injury. It was some bull crap. It wasn't even a serious injury. He had like a toe
mhm.
injury, and he just couldn't play. Um, although I will say, if it was the big toe, that's kind of important.
But you know what my dream scenario is, and I hope it happens, but I doubt it'll ever happen. Arch Manning coming to New York.
That
That's
could
my
happen.
dream scenario.
I could tell you how that
Like
could happen.
I mean, Arch Manning has said on record he wants him to play for the Cowboys. God knows why, but
He's
What?
probably, a nostalgic Cowboys fan, even though
Maybe
he
he doesn't
wasn't
want him to get
alive.
killed
Even though
probably.
he
behind the
wasn't
offensive
alive
lineman.
when they won their last Super Bowl.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I know.
My thing is he probably just wants to be protected.
Hmm.
He's not going to get if we don't change the line, he's not going to get that protection. But there is a what if scenario where if we tanked this season again, if we do another tank job or at least actually try to effectively do a tank job and not win meaningless games like we always do, we could tank and get the first round pick and then go for Arch Manning because I believe he would declare for the draft next year. Um,
Well, he could. That's the huge if. Because I've heard things that he wants to stay in school all 4 years, which
hmm,
I mean, I know this is a Giant show, but like I could talk tangents about Arch Manning. I don't
he
know
could be
why
a
he wants
giant.
to. I don't know why he wanted to go to the Texas to play for Steve Sarkisian under Quinn Ewers. I mean, I think he wasted a year of eligibility, but
He
I
might
think
have.
he's going to be. So excited to watch him next year because I love college ball. I watch college ball all the time. So Arch Manning is going to be exciting to watch, and I'm going to foam at the mouth if he has a chance to come to the Giants because he would save this franchise without a
I
doubt,
think he
You're
1,000%.
would.
giving you're giving him a lot of power in that statement. That he would be able to save the franchise. He might
I
be
think he could.
embellishing a little bit too much, man.
If he's pessimistic, let him
Well,
have his one. Let him have his one. He said he's
well,
pessimistic Giants fan.
it's just the Giants. They have improved me in the last 15 years that they can turn it around.
Yeah,
I hate to say it. It's just we're just living off of hope. We
if
live
that's what
off
you
of
don't
hope.
want. You can't
Ah,
be like the Browns or the Detroit Lions of old, like the 0
hmm
and 16 Detroit Lions. They kind of just did things haphazardly and were like, well, if this works, great. If it doesn't, we'll figure it out next year. That's just what it was like for them. But that's what we're doing right now. We're just
hmm
like, oh, if this doesn't work out, next draft. If this doesn't work
Yeah.
out, next draft. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of watching these people get picked in the top 10 and they're questionable for their first 2 years and eventually just become busts.
hmm
Like, I don't know how you feel about Andrew Thomas. He aggravates me because one week he could be the best tackle in the league, and the next week he's getting cooked. And you're just like, what's happening? Like we have no protection,
hmm
and he's so inconsistent. But
hmm
he's not as bad of a bust as Evan Neal. Evan Neal was atrocious.
Just a
That was
pure
just bad.
waste.
That
Pure
was
waste of a
awful.
pick.
I
And then
mean,
they were
when
talking
you
about moving him. Like, come on.
I mean, and the fat and put sour grapes and the cherry on top. I mean, him just constantly bringing up making fun of service workers and flipping burgers
That
at
was
McDonald's.
bad. That
That
was
was a
bad.
low blow shot to all the service workers. I mean, there's a lot of service. Like you did that was not a good move on his part.
And then you stink up
Major,
the joint.
major no. And
And
then
then
he
he's
stinks up the joint.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
I know.
he goes out there and performs like he does after saying that. It's like you better be the
I
best tackle in the league if you're gonna talk like that.
I hate to
Absolutely.
You
say this, but the last Giants game I've ever been to is probably a preseason Jets game back in 2018. It's been what, 7 years now? What are we in 2025 now? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have nothing. I don't really have much to like waste my time and go up to North Jersey and just waste my time on a Sunday afternoon. There's no hope. I mean, I know a lot of players or a lot of my friends that want to go up and hey, going to go waste a Sunday afternoon and sit in traffic on 95, go right ahead.
and
But
being
I
miserable on the way home.
and be miserable on the way
Yes.
home. Exactly.
And then if you catch the wrong game, you're also very cold. You're freezing out
Yes.
there.
Oh
And
yeah.
there and
hmm
and we made actually the son made the decision to not attend the game in 2024 season. Before the season started, he was like, no games this season. He knew it was going to be horrible
I was like,
after
we
the whole
can't.
Saquon thing. And we normally buy merchandise. We didn't. And then we found out through our chats during our shows that many Giants players had stopped buying merch and everything. And that all costs money for the Giants. When you don't
Mm-hmm.
have people, you have partial empty
hmm
seats at games, booing fans, which happened at many games in the 2024
Yeah,
season. Very
you got people
disturbing.
taping over Saquon Barkley's name and writing what's
Oh
that running
yes,
back's name? I
the
don't even remember that bum's
flyover.
name. What's his name? That's how bad he was. I don't even remember his name. The running back that we literally had to wear number 26, the phony 26. I hate him so much.
Devin Singletary.
That's how you know I hate somebody when I try to forget their name. I literally couldn't even remember who he was. I couldn't even remember who he was.
Oh man,
They taped over Saquon's jersey and wrote
I
Singletary
know.
instead. And that's what I would have done if I actually cared about Singletary. But no.
Mm-mm.
He needs to get out of number 26. If he is he even still on the
hmm
roster? I didn't even see that he left. I didn't see he went anywhere.
I
If he's
don't.
still on the team, he's got to change that jersey. He got to come up out
They
of that
may
number.
not have taken him
I
off
want
because
to.
I don't know that we have plans for replacing him. They might need to just keep him just in case.
I have a really quick question, if you guys don't mind.
Go ahead.
I'm just curious what both of you think for the draft for at the 3 pick. Going back to the draft, if Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter are both sitting on the board, who do you take? And both Cam Ward and Shadeur are gone at 1 and 2. Who do you take at 3? Then what?
You just gave me a fight or flight response. Uh, I guess I would have to if I had a gun to my head, I would have
Oh
to go
no.
with. I mean, that's an extreme question because I mean,
It's either Carter or Carter Hunter, or you trade back.
okay, so here's the thing: the pick that you make is going to determine what you're doing with the team. So if I'm going Travis Hunter, would I draft him for offense or am I drafting him for defense? Or am I drafting him
It's
for
true because
defense
he
and
plays
special
both
teams? And does that
directions.
right? And does that mean is Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston going to be the main focus of our quarterback situation? And it's not going to be somebody that we draft later on, like Dart or who'd you say that fellow was from Louisville?
I think yeah, Hugh. I think
Hugh,
Shu.
Hugh, Hughes,
Shu. I think his name is Shu from Louisville. Yeah.
Hugh. So either of them. So if I pick Travis Hunter, that means I'm going the route of I either am riding Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson until we get maybe Arch Manning next year, maybe, or you're trying to go pray in the second round you can get a quarterback that Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston can mentor, and then you have Travis Hunter who will be that X factor that could play on defense and maybe do special teams. And are you allowed to
Hmm.
be playing offense and defense too as a
Yeah,
professional? Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
so
think
Why
it's
not?
recommended, but
I mean,
it
for
can be
injuries, if we're
done.
talking, the
Why
more
not?
plays you're
Yeah,
on the field, the more opportunities to injure yourself,
right,
especially at someone
right.
who's that size.
Hmm.
But like that's where I would make that decision. Now, if I'm not going the route of sticking with Russ and Jameis and maybe mentoring a second round draft pick quarterback, I would just go with Abdul Carter, beef up that defense even more.
Hmm.
Mainly because you lost Azeez Ojulari, so you lost someone on the other side, and now you just have Burns, and that's it on the edge because Kayvon Thibodeau is not getting to the quarterback. And if he does get to the quarterback, it's because everything else was compromised and they had the double team, and he's got a one-on-one matchup. That is not a good scenario. So I would say I'm leaning more on the Travis Hunter. I'm leaning more on picking Travis Hunter because there's more versatility there. If I just get Abdul Carter and I improve the rush defense and the pass rush, what does that do for our offense?
Yeah.
Like so, but if I get Travis Hunter and I could use him on defense and maybe some special teams and offensive plays where we could put him in there and do some wildcat or whatever, you have something there. Both you can't go wrong, but I say Travis Hunter. That was a very long-winded answer. But again, I was in a fight or flight, so I had to drag it out.
Intel says Hunter for sure. And let's see, we have online Big Blue Sports Entertainment. It says either Charles Woodson or Champ
Oh,
Bailey played both ways. They focused on one position,
I knew he was going to
and
bring them up.
oh, he said neither that is. I don't know. He may have didn't finish his statement, so I don't know. But
Maybe.
also Intel also liked your reference to the sour grapes with the cherry on top. But man,
Well, I appreciate
he
that.
thought that was funny.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah,
But that was
he's
a
a
good
funny guy.
question, Matt.
But
That
but
that was a good question.
yeah, I wanted to see what you, what else, what do you think as well? The mother, what do you think?
Well, and I've been saying, at this point, Travis Hunter, and then since probably November 2024, I said that the Giants would actually pick someone like a Will Howard from Ohio State, okay, for
Oh,
QB, because he
ooh,
fits the profile of a Daniel
hmm.
Jones, of a Eli. So they could get
Hmm.
Travis at 3, and then
Yeah.
maybe Will would still be available for the next pick.
Hmm.
Later on, I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah,
And
he's a national championship winner.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yep,
I can see
he's got
that.
that experience. He's got the experience.
Yeah, he's
He
a
had
winner. So,
he had a decent he had a good season
But
this
can
in
he play
mhm.
2024.
behind an offensive line like the New York Giants? See, this
Well,
is where you
again,
have to be
I'm
careful with
I'm
these
I'm
college
I'm
athletes.
not picking him because I want him. I'm
I understand
thinking
that.
from the terms of the idiots in the front office at the New York
Now,
Giants.
for sure, I'll throw another scenario for both of you guys. If, let's say, Cam Ward's at one, let's see, Travis Hunter then goes two. Then at three, you have Shadeur Sanders sitting right there for you, or Abdul Carter. Now, at that point, I mean, if you, I'm obviously now, where do you go then? Because for me, if you trade down, there's another question too. If you guys trade down the Giants, how far are you willing to go to accumulate more picks to be able to build for the future? But I'll leave the floor to you guys. But I have an opinion, but I'll share that later. But
So
I would say, Son, go first.
my answer to that, if we let's say we go the route of trading down, that would mean we are 100% going to get a quarterback in the second round, and it would more
Yeah,
than likely be Dart, Howard, or Shoe. One of those three, because it ain't going to be Cam Ward. Shador Sanders more than likely won't be there. Somebody's going to be salivating that he is still there in the first round and take him. Some team will
yeah.
take him. I don't think that Shador Sanders
He's
makes it
gonna
to the
go in
second
the
round. I don't
he's
see
going to
that.
the first round. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So that would mean that we're okay with giving up Travis Hunter or whoever else that we thought we could get in the first round. We just give that up. We wait till the second round, get that quarterback, and then we go from there. And I feel like they would be looking towards the future again and still would try to want to go for maybe an Arch Manning type. in the following draft or 2 years from now. So I feel that that would be their route. If that's what they decided to do, they would just
Mhm.
accept a quarterback in the second round and just give up their pick in the first round, assuming Hunter is gone and Cam
Yeah.
Ward is gone.
It's tough. You could go. I mean, you trade back, you live off of hope, but then you draft so high because you don't draft very high very often. I mean, being a three
No.
is
Well,
a
you don't. Who
valuable
wants to?
piece
That
of
means you're a
asset.
loser.
Yeah, that's bad. It's bad when
That
you
is,
draft high.
well, in that aspect, yes, the mother, that is very true. It's just what I think about when you're that high, obviously you don't want to be there very often, but when you're that high, if you want to go get the top players in the draft, I mean, if you're going to trade back, you better get the haul and then some, just like with,
Yes.
get a quarterback later in the following draft, because I'm going to say this again, and this is not the draft to get your quarterback. We had
It's
our
really
chance to get
not.
our quarterback in last draft, and we didn't get it, and
Nope.
we
Right.
should have, because that was the quarterback draft.
Hmm.
I loved Bo Nix, I loved JJ McCarthy, and I loved Jaden Daniels. I mean, I loved
Mm-hmm.
all three of those. This is not the quarterback class to reach for. If you're sitting that high at three, you take the best player available, whoever is on the board. I mean, that is just you put yourself. You really think you can make Shadeur work? Take him. If you
Hmm.
can't, if you have any inch of doubt, take someone else,
I
or you trade
agree.
out.
Hmm.
Or you trade out, or not even trade out. Just get Carter or Hunter, whoever's there,
I agree.
because
I don't
that's
think
it.
they should. No trading down.
But don't
That's
pick a Daniel Jones type again at three if you decide not to trade down because
No,
I don't know what they were thinking at. I don't know what they were thinking at six
no.
those years ago, but we can't be doing that. We have three now. We are a whole three spots higher. We could not pick someone like that. I don't want to see a dart picked at three. I don't want to
I
see
have,
something like that.
I have another quick
uh.
scenario. It's probably
Wait.
never.
Let me
Go
let
ahead.
me just interrupt. Your dad also said, Matt. Russ is Mr. Unlimited. LOL. Is that something? Is that? Should I know what that means?
Unlimited,
Oh.
unlimited. I
Yes, he
mean, we
had the
could.
whole bunch of L's, I's, and L, M's, and I. Yeah, yeah. He exaggerated the unlimited part. I just read it
Yeah, no.
differently. And then Intel
Yeah,
says,
no.
"Do you think Sanders is a franchise quarterback? Does any of you guys think that Sanders is a franchise quarterback for any team, I suppose, but I guess the Giants especially."
Not for a team like the Giants. Not for a
Okay.
team that has a whole
I
lot of missing equations or missing holes in the equation. We
I'll
have a lot of things missing.
I'll answer until this. If he goes to the right situation with a
Exactly.
good supporting cast, then
Yep.
yes.
He would need to go to
I
someone like the Eagles, like that was assembled last year. Like, let's
look
say Jalen Hurts is not there. They all they needed was a quarterback.
look.
Shadeur Sanders is there.
Well, you also look at Sam Darnold. He got drafted by the Jets.
Yeah.
Poor decision, poor
Yeah,
organization,
that was horrible.
poor draft. I mean, he went to Minnesota and he lit it up last year, 3,500 pass yards. He
He
played a
sure
very
did.
good year,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
he
but
proved himself. Yeah.
Give him
that
a
would be in a
receiver like
dream.
that.
I have another dream scenario. I don't even know if it's going to happen. I doubt it at this point. But let's say the Titans whiff and they don't go Cam Ward, and they go maybe like a Travis Hunter, and then you're sitting with the Browns and the Giants. Could you trade up at one spot just to try to get Cam Ward if
I don't know.
both of them?
Do we have something to trade up with
Hmm.
Yeah, like what would we
that
give?
they would want that they would want
Yeah, like what would we give them?
that we can actually give up and not need. We need everything we have. I think any picks that we have, I think we need them for
Oh.
this season.
I hate to say this, but we would never do it. Is give up a first next year? That's not happening.
It's not
I
gonna
mean,
happen. It
No,
it's
won't.
they need it.
just
They know
they
that
do
they're
We
need it.
really
needed.
need it. Like we
They
can't give
need it.
that. And you know that's what they're gonna ask for. It's like, give us that first in next year's draft then.
First in a
No,
couple seconds. That's not going to happen. No, especially
No.
that.
no.
No.
They
Mm-mm.
need
They'll
they need
leave us.
every
That would
pick.
set us back 20 years. That move right there would be
Oh
an
my
additional
God, that's
20 years.
horrible.
Because
That is
then you're
horrible.
really just setting yourself up to be like, okay, well, I guess we just look who's available in the third round in the next few years. It's like, what?
Hmm.
No, that's
No, for sure.
crazy.
All
For
right, so
sure.
we're well over an hour, folks, and
Oh,
I
yeah,
just
we
had
are.
yes. So I just want to say, just to add a few more of your father is still commenting, Matt. He says Sanders has a lot to prove based on the schedule he played at Colorado, but
Hmm.
didn't play behind a great OL and in Colorado either. So
That's good preparation if you're getting signed by
I'm
the
about to say
Giants.
we have a terrible offensive line in New York, so that might work. And then he says Kayvon has been a bust since he got to New York. and disappeared.
He
He
had one
also
decent
disappeared.
season.
He said he also disappeared and always disappeared in big games when he was in Oregon. So that's interesting. And
That
just
did happen.
lastly, Intel said, "Is there a quarterback that we think is a possible franchise quarterback this year for us?"
Or just in general.
I don't know. I don't.
I can
For
answer
us,
that in both
go ahead. You
scenarios.
do that, and then we'll close out.
As Matt said earlier, no, there is not a guaranteed franchise quarterback. There is a if the quarterback goes to the right situation, he could be a franchise quarterback. But you can't just dump any of these quarterbacks into any situation and they turn it around. That they don't have the intangibles that you're looking for in like a Mahomes or someone
Right.
like that. Mahomes does not come around very often. We may not see another Mahomes. The last time we saw a Mahomes type was Aaron Rodgers when he came into the league, and that was 20 years ago. So like we're probably not going to see another Mahomes type. We're not going to see that. We're not going to see a Jalen Hurts type. We're not going to see Josh Allen. You're not going to see those types in the next like 10 years, if that. Like that, those don't come around that often. Arch Manning is probably the closest thing you'll get to that. That's the closest thing you'll get. No,
No, for sure.
no. To answer that
It's
question, no.
tough. It's
it's
tough.
it's very they would have to be in a very good team situation. And it would have to be like what happened with Jaden Daniels, really. It's just out of nowhere, they're just lighting everything up. Like I didn't think Jaden Daniels was gonna do what he did. I knew he would be pretty good, but to be rookie of the year, like and do those kind of things, like
And bring this team that was losing for the last several seasons
didn't
into
even
the
have an identity a
playoffs.
couple of years ago. They were the Washington football team.
They did not
They
even
didn't
have
even
a
have an
brand.
identity.
They had
And he
no
brought it to the
brand.
NFC Championship. Like
Yeah,
that's
It's
sure.
that was
Yeah.
pretty
wild.
amazing. Pretty
But
amazing.
no,
It's
All right,
wild.
folks. So let's close out. I want to thank Matt Shenko and all of his friends and family that have joined us.
Matt, please come back for another podcast. Come back for another podcast.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was telling Jamie before doing this show. I actually did a podcast, a couple of years ago at one of my local like community college, at one of my local radio stations. But and I put it on the back burner for a very long time, and I think it's definitely time for me to come back into it. So
Absolutely.
I
Yes.
will be making I
Yes.
will be making a return at some point. So
We've
to be
revived
to
your podcasting career.
oh, for sure. Oh, absolutely. It's time. It's been a long time coming. I'm looking forward to, stay tuned for that. So looking forward to
Excellent.
it.
Thank
Sounds
you. And
good.
please, everyone, remember to, if watching this, please like and subscribe. We really want to, yeah, make sure that you don't miss any of our episodes. And get and also hit the notification button so that you can find out when we go live. Because sometimes we just randomly go live, and but in
Like
season
today.
it's but in season we always go live right after games. So, but you can
Hmm.
count on that, and we will be going live once again for the NFL draft, the 2025 NFL draft. We will be going live for that. So stay tuned for that, and we hope to see you next time. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. Go Giants.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here, man.
All right, we're done.